The night of May 14th, 2008, Marshall, Minnesota. 19-year-old Brandon Swanson had spent the evening with friends. Past midnight, driving home on a dark country road, his car slid into a ditch. He wasn't injured. The car was stuck. So Brandon did exactly what any teenager would do in that situation. He called his parents. His mother, Annette, answered immediately. Brandon said he wasn't sure exactly where he was. He could see the faint lights of a town somewhere ahead. He started walking toward them. His father, Brian, got in the car and began driving the back roads, searching. For the next 47 minutes, both parents stayed on the phone with their son. His voice was calm, steady. He seemed fine. Then, without warning, without a struggle, without a sound of impact, Brandon said 2 words. "Oh, shit." And the phone went silent. Brandon Swanson was never seen again. His parents called 911 immediately. Search and rescue teams arrived within hours. Over the following weeks, helicopters, cadaver dogs, and hundreds of volunteers covered the surrounding fields and waterways. His car was found in the ditch. His phone was never pinged again. No footprints, no clothing, no trace of any kind. Years passed. Then a decade. The case prompted Minnesota to pass Brandon's laws requiring law enforcement to begin searching for missing adults immediately without the standard 24-hour wait. His body has never been recovered. February 9th, 2004, Route 112, Haverhill, New Hampshire. At 7:27 in the evening, a car ran off the road and struck a snowbank. The driver was 21-year-old Maura, a nursing student at the University of Massachusetts Amherst. On the surface, a simple accident in a quiet New England town. But what happened in the minutes that followed turned Maura's disappearance into one of the most analyzed cold cases in American true crime history. A local school bus driver named Butch Atwood was first on the scene. He stopped and asked Maura if she needed help. She told him she had already called AAA. Butch went home and just 100 feet away and called 911 himself. Police arrived within 7 minutes. In those 7 minutes, in the cold and the dark of rural New Hampshire, Maura vanished from the side of the road. There were no footprints leading into the woods, no trail, no trace. Investigators found alcohol in Maura's car and evidence she had been involved in a minor accident on campus that very same day. She had withdrawn $280 in cash. She had emailed her professors stating there had been a family emergency that never existed. She had sent messages canceling an upcoming ski trip. Her phone showed she had searched online for directions to a cabin in Vermont. No cabin was ever identified. Maura, just days from her 22nd birthday, was gone. She has never been found. Valentine's Day, 2000, Shelby, North Carolina. 9-year-old Asha Degree was, by all accounts, a careful and rule-following child. Her teachers described her as responsible and obedient. She never stayed out late. She never broke rules. On the night of February 13th, as a violent storm tore through North Carolina with thunder and driving rain, Asha left her home in the middle of the night and walked alone into the dark. No one knows why. At approximately 2:30 in the morning, Asha was spotted walking alone down Highway 18. Multiple drivers slowed down, alarmed to see a small child alone in the storm. Each time, Asha kept walking. when one driver turned around and came back to check on her. Asha ran off the road and disappeared into the trees. Search teams combed those woods the following day. They found her pencil, a marker, and a hair bow at the tree line. Items confirmed to be hers, but Asha herself was gone. 14 months after Asha's disappearance, construction workers found something buried in the ground. When 100,005 at Siskins, he had headbag was a backpack. It's Satch backpack. Inside, her school books, her pencil case, her drawings. Items she had quietly packed herself on the night she walked away. Someone had moved those items 26 miles from where she disappeared. Someone had buried them. No one has ever been charged in connection with Asha Degree's disappearance. She has never been found. April 1st, 2006, Columbus, Ohio. 27-year-old Brian Shaffer was finishing his second year of medical school at Ohio State University. It was a Friday night, the last day of spring break. Brian went out with two friends to the Ugly Tuna Saloona Ooh, a busy bar located inside a shopping mall. The mall had two entrances. Both were covered by security cameras. At 1:55 in the morning, Brian Shaffer was captured on camera walking into the bar. His friends left the bar. Brian stayed behind, talking to two women near the entrance. Multiple witnesses saw him inside. He seemed happy, in good spirits. And then at some point during the early morning hours, Brian Shaffer simply ceased to exist. When morning came and his friends couldn't reach him, police were called. Investigators reviewed every frame of security footage from every camera in the mall, inside the bar, and in the surrounding area. Brian Shaffer never walked out of that building. The footage proves it. His car sat in the parking lot untouched. His phone stopped receiving signals. The bar had no unlocked service exits, no emergency hatches, no back doors that weren't already covered by cameras. His girlfriend at the time noted he had been under stress or grieving the recent loss of his mother to cancer. But every person who spoke to Brian that night said he seemed fine. Brian Shaffer has never been found. No body, no arrest, no explanation for how a man left a building he never left. December 6th, West Valley City, Utah. Susan Powell was 28 years old. She was a mother of two young boys, Josh, Charlie, who was 4, and Braden, who was 2. In her private journals, Susan had written that she feared her husband, Josh. She had told friends directly, if anything ever happened to her Oz, Josh would be responsible. On the night of December 6th, Susan Powell disappeared. Her husband Josh told investigators he had taken their 2 toddlers camping at midnight in December, in temperatures that had dropped well below freezing. He said the family had left while Susan was still home, and that when they returned the following afternoon, she was simply gone. No campsite was ever confirmed. No camping gear showed evidence consistent with an overnight trip in those conditions. Neighbors reported seeing Josh loading the family minivan late that night. Investigators named Josh Powell the prime suspect, but he was never charged. Susan's body was never found. For more than 2 years, Josh Powell remained free, a suspect, never an arrested man. In February of 2012, a family court judge granted Josh a supervised visit with his 2 sons. As Charlie and Braden walked through the front door, Josh locked the social worker outside. He attacked his boys with a hatchet. He set the house on fire. Josh Powell and his 2 young sons died in that fire. Susan's father has spent every year since searching the wilderness of Washington State for his daughter's remains. Susan Powell has never been found. 5 families, 5 cases, no answers. Brandon, Maura, Asha, Brian, Susan. Subscribe if you believe these stories deserve to be heard. There are many more cases yet to be told.